and we welcome you to episode 10.
How do you view friendship?
Make friends, never break friends.
I truly believe some friends are for a season and some friends are forever. But who you allow to influence your life and who you pour into is really, really key.
Friendships help create the environment from which healthy things grow. A little bit stalkerish.
Let's be honest.
Leanne
That's why we
watching
like it. It's,
who sharpens you?
yeah.
Who do you sharpen?
Friends are about getting a community.
Welcome back to the Winning Life podcast. My name is Gareth Morgan.
I'm Leanne Morgan.
And we welcome you to episode 10.
Double figures.
Yes, we've reached double figures and we are still going. We're still enthusiastic and we can't wait to share this conversation with you.
Yep, and thank you if you've listened to every single one of those 10 episodes. We appreciate
hardcore listeners.
Our listening community. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And if this is your first, then of course you can go back and listen to previous conversations. We like to think that we are dealing with questions that shape our everyday lives. You know, we are the Winning Life podcast. This is about setting you up to win, to fulfill your potential. And so we're looking at principles and questions in every episode that are like keys, aren't they,
yes,
Leanne?
Absolutely. And talking about keys, you're good at losing yours, aren't you?
Well, that's, and I guess I'm reminded of the importance of keys because I keep losing them. You know, because if you don't have the keys, you can't go anywhere.
That is very, very true.
And I always lose them when I then really need to get away from somewhere or I really need to get to some place. It's never when it's just kind of one of those days where I don't really have to be anywhere. Why is that?
I don't know. I don't lose my keys often enough to think about it. I mean, I do occasionally, but you are renowned for losing your keys. Yeah,
I lose keys. You lose handbags with keys.
All right.
With AirPods, with wallet or purse, with other
That was one
items.
occasion. That was one occasion.
Touché.
It was one occasion and it dropped out of the car unknowingly. So that's in my defence. You, however, will just put your keys down in loads of different places, not thinking. You see, there's a little hook that we have for you to put them on.
No, but it's rarely in this house. It's more when we are in other people's houses. Yeah. They don't provide me with a hook for my keys. Maybe I need to make that a prerequisite.
Give them to me.
I will only come round your house if you have a little hook for my keys. And I lose my keys, but keys are essential to get you places and get you into somewhere. And so principles are exactly the same. In fact, I wrote a book called The Winning Keys. And so if this is your first time listening to this podcast, then maybe that's a good kind of opportunity just to say, you know, one of the things that we do, we take principles from the Bible, which for us is our framework of belief. It is, you know, for us, it's God's word. It's what steers and guides us.
Yeah.
And I like to talk about the fact that the Bible can, in one sense, be used by everybody as a code for success. There are principles, there are sayings in there that people use not knowing it's from the Bible and, you know, would say it's something that is an important part of their life, you know, such as do unto others as you would have them do unto you. People quote that, don't they?
All the time.
Don't realize it's in the Bible.
Absolutely.
And so you can use it as a code of success, and that will have a benefit in your life, you know, because they're principles, they work. But then there's another kind of gear that it moves to, which for us is actually, it's what I call a covenant. In other words, it's about relationship.
Yeah.
It's about, yes, there's the principles, but then there's the person behind the principles, God himself who created us. So for us, those keys are keys that God who created us has given to us.
Yeah.
And essentially said, well, I've made you and I'll show you how you work best. He doesn't impose himself. He doesn't force himself. He's given us free will, which some might say, well, might not be a great idea, knowing the choices that some of us, including myself, can make. But that's relationship, isn't it? It's trust, it's choice. And so, keys are important, and keys is part of the book Winning Keys. And that book particularly has included in it all of the the kind of keys that we look to in the Bible, and you can take a look at that. And if you're not a Christian, then out of curiosity you might want to go and have a look at that. But these are principles that can work for everyone, but they can also take to a whole new stratosphere when we kind of look at them through the lens of a relationship.
And the Winning Keys book is very good. It's not about actual keys, how to keep hold of them.
No, I've not written that book yet. Maybe I need to buy that book. You
definitely don't qualify for that.
Anybody written a book on how to remember your keys?
I think it's quite simple. Don't think you need a book.
Somebody actually bought me a key finder for Christmas, but I lost it.
Why does that not surprise me? Well, shall we move on to today's question?
Just before we do, actually,
I saw something
lost
come into
it,
your mind.
but also it was a bit pointless because you whistle and then it makes a noise. I can't whistle. I'd be lost. I mean, you were a great whistler. So I'd be fine if you were there, but I can't whistle, so
wow, it's
I'm
nice
lost.
to know that I'm good for something.
Anyway, let's move on because that's a pointless conversation.
So the question for episode 10 is a really good one. I'm looking forward to this conversation. How do you view friendship? How do you view friendship?
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think some people, and I would say this is particularly challenging for me, because some people can naturally be more independent.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I guess if you're an introvert versus an extrovert, obviously the difference between the two, the kind of definition that's been given, which I find really useful and helpful, is extroverts find their energy from people, introverts get their energy away from people.
Or they need to spend time on their own in order to be with other people.
Exactly. But nevertheless, we need people.
Yeah.
But needing people and then friendship, again, they are two different things, because there's you can be surrounded by people but not actually have friends. And so how do you view friendship in the light of a winning life? Can you have a winning life and just have colleagues and not friends? Can you have a winning life and not have that close friendship where somebody really gets to see you warts and all? Can you achieve that without friendship? Or actually, is friendship an integral part of the path to success, significance, and having that impact that you're capable of? So this is a big question.
It is, and it goes right through to, I think, when you start school as a child, or when you learn how to make friends, and it's difficult. And as a parent, you watch your child going off into the playground. You're like, oh, they're going to be lonely.
What was that phrase that used to sing? Make friends, never break friends.
If you do, you'll catch the flu, and that will be the end of you.
Wow, that was pre-COVID.
That's what we used to say in.
That was pre-COVID, wasn't it?
So it was pretty awful, really.
Yeah, it is. All nursery rhymes tended to end in death or
dark behind them, haven't
dark.
they? Yeah,
the things we allowed, or even we celebrated our kids singing those things. Very strange.
But that kind of thing that you used to say with your friend, the make friends, never break friends. It was kind of a threat more than a covenant, wasn't it? It was like,
it's like a contract.
Don't you dare betray me, But you learn very early on, again, whether you're shy, whether you're an extrovert, whether you're just, whatever. You learn how to make friends, and some find that easier than others.
Yep.
And obviously, source of kind of lots of problems in school are down to bullying and the lack of friends, and that's very, very sad. But we kind of think that ends in school, that the bullying, the friendship thing, that's all done with now. Then you go to uni, or you go and get a job or whatever, and get married, have family, etc. And you think, oh, that's the end of that. I would like to say that's the beginning of it, because actually that's been your learning, your literal training ground, the playground, or where you got to meet people at a social, sports club, whatever. That was your training ground for the rest of your life, because friends, if we're not careful, in friendship, we can view it in a way that's unhealthy, that it's all about what it does for me. Whereas really, I think we need to flip that round. And when we see people and friends and the importance of them more for not what they do for me, but how we can work together and what I can do for them, it totally changes things. Thrown in there, of course, with the whole friendship thing is that I truly believe some friends are for a season and some friends are forever. Either way, it doesn't matter. They're still important.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think at the very lowest level, people would say, you know, when you have a friendship, it does something for you.
Yeah.
There is obviously an emotional benefit when you have a friend. And like you said, at school, very often you would make a friend, especially when you first start, as a form of security.
Absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
I don't want to be on my own. You know, when I walk into a strange place, if I can anchor myself to somebody that kind of will recognize me, it becomes that
it's a point of security.
It is a point of security. That's why people, and I've seen this, so let's go to adults, when you go into a room full of people and you don't know anybody, what's the thing that people do? You know, if they're in there, they don't know anybody, they'll go to their phone. They'll call somebody that they do know. In other words, let me find that anchor point that brings a sense of security. So I think in its basic form, friendship creates a sense of security, a sense of acceptance. But if we leave it there, then we really haven't got to the heart of the design of friendship, the purpose of friendship. And so, you know, the next level, I guess, would be, you know, the interaction of friendship where there's fun, there's enjoyment, there's sharing, there's caring for one another. So there's that kind of, you know, the Bible will talk about phileo, love. In other words, it's one in which is mutually beneficial, okay, and we benefit from it. So again, that is a deeper level. But we're going to talk about the levels that go even beyond that. Because I think if you leave it at those two levels, then people, and myself included, who naturally can do life alone, and I say can as in not should.
No, but you.
But I can get along, you know, make a level of progress by myself. But what we're going to learn is you are limited.
Yes.
And you will be limited if you accept that as, well, I don't have friends. I don't need people as friends. You know, I'll have colleagues, I'll have clients, I'll have even neighbors, but ultimately I don't need to go to any depth of relationship. Actually, what you're going to discover, and you may already know, and you may already have that kind of deep awareness of this, but I'm going to remind you that this is going to stop progress for you. And ultimately, it's also going to mean you're not going to be fulfilled, because linked to friendship is fulfillment. Yeah,
and I think as you become older, you have to become, or you have to get wisdom over who those friends are as well, because it's not just about letting anybody, you know, into your life. I think when I go right back to my very first day at school when I was 4 years old, I made a friend. And maybe she's listening to this. Who knows?
Hey, friend.
I won't give you a name because that would be embarrassing. It wasn't imaginary either. She did exist. And you know what? And it's unusual, but we were best of friends until we left school, kind of at GCSEs. And we stayed in touch, and we're still kind of friends on Facebook and stuff. But really, we were kind of inseparable in one way in the early years. Like you said, for those levels of kind of security, when we went into the playground, we were good at the same things. We both enjoyed the same subjects. I was very kind of lucky in that sense that I had that. And we spent social time together as well. But I think then going into adult life, and obviously we got married and moved away, and kind of lives take different paths. When you're a child, you're thrown in together over circumstance. You're in the same class, you're the same sports group, or whatever that might be, the same camp that you went to, or whatever, you're kind of thrown into that. But as you go into adulthood and you're looking at your life, I think it's far more important to be choosy. Now, when I say that, it's not that you kind of go, I don't like you and get rid of you, I'm never speaking to you again, but who you allow to influence your life and who you pour into is really, really key. Because advice, and this is the kind of thing that doesn't really happen growing up so much when you're a kid, because it is on a very superficial level. But the advice that you get the environments that you're in with those people literally shape you. What you immerse yourself in is what you become. So if you're in an unhealthy friendship where it's kind of one-sided or whatever, that is not good and not helpful. And it's not that you kind of, maybe it is that you have to cut them off, but it could be more that you just got to be really wise and get some wisdom on who the friends you're going to have. And I think in Proverbs it talks about it's better to have a few good friends than just to be in the company of loads of different people.
Yeah, it's Proverbs 18:24. It says and obviously a man is a man or a woman, of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Yeah. And I think you're absolutely right. It's actually, this isn't about quantity. This is about quality.
Yeah. Hi everybody and welcome to the Winning Life TV. Thank you for tuning in and hopefully you've been listening to all the episodes so far. But we don't want to just talk at you, we want to have a conversation with you. So we want to share something really exciting that is coming up and we're inviting you to it. Now Gareth, tell us what is happening on February the 20th.
On February the 20th, Leanne, we're going to have an online environment where we talk about the MVP plan and the MVP journey that we are encouraging people to get on board with. Many people have downloaded the MVP plan and may look at it and think, okay, this is a really useful tool, but how do I really take it and maximize it and help me to break out of that repeating pattern that's stopping me making progress in my personal or professional life?
That's good. So if someone's listening to this and thinking, okay, great, is this for me? Who is it for?
This is for anybody who is hungry to grow, humble to learn, and wants to become the MVP in their environment, in the space where they operate day in, day out. In other words, that person who stands out so that they can start to shape and influence that arena to produce positive outcomes, to produce great results. And so we want you, if you believe in your heart that you are an MVP, you have an aspiration to achieve great things, then we want you to be in this environment.
So how is it going to work? People might be thinking, is it in person? Is it online? What's the setup?
So we're going to be on Zoom and we are going to have that environment where we can interact, where we can break down into groups. And so we're going to introduce you into that environment and explain how it's going to be a regular environment going forward that people can be part of, because we really believe that there is more in you than you think. But we all need somebody to help draw that out of us. And that's what the environment is for.
Well, I'm really excited to be there. I can't wait to start it. So come and join us on Monday, 20th of February. All the details of how you can sign up for this will be at thewinninglife.tv. Make sure you're there. We'll be there. We're excited to start this community. So see you soon. Yeah, absolutely.
And the difference. So let me ask you a question, Leanne. What do you think is the difference between a companion? So when that proverb says companion and a friend who is closer than a brother, what's the difference there so that we can maybe do a little bit of a relational stock check on, okay, like, have I just got lots of companions, you know, or have I got that, the kind of friendship that I actually need?
Yeah. Companions are good. You know, we all want to share life with people. We want to share jokes. We want to have fun. I believe that we're created for that. I think if the moment we go, oh, you know, I don't need that and become too serious, I don't think we're fully experiencing our created purpose, because Jesus had friends. Jesus, you know, who is our ultimate model in life, he had friends, he had close friends. But you see, there's a difference between, he had friends that he would go and spend lots of time with and eat with, but then he had a few that he allowed in close. And this is the Son of God, who ultimately could have said, I don't need anybody.
Yeah.
But he knew the importance of allowing certain people. So I think the difference is, have friends, have kind of, what's the word? Associates, or you have acquaintances is another word I'm kind of looking for. But anyway, people that you kind of spend time with, that, you know, go out with, have a laugh with. But then really the one that sticks closer than the brother, I would talk about shared values. Those who actually you add to each other's life, that you actually grow, that actually they knock sharp edges off you, but you do the same for them. You know that their word to you that is kind of hurts but is truthful is there out of love, and vice versa. It's the kind of person that you know, if you have a deep problem, that they're not going to be thinking about themselves, they're going to be thinking about you, and vice versa. It all comes down to, I would even say, perhaps a coaching relationship, where you are not trying to outdo one another, but you're literally cheering one another on. That's the difference, and they're difficult to find.
Well, I guess they are difficult to find, because anything of quality is not common, you know. So I think, but absolutely they are there, and you know, you have to believe that there are people who you can surround yourself with, which I think is really important that Leanne said, have shared values, which is absolutely key, because that's the compatibility, that's the emulsifier that brings you together, because you can have people that have, you know, similar interests and have, you know, similar tastes. But actually, if there's even a value that is not congruent, there'll always be that jarring. And maybe you're listening to this, and maybe there's something in a relationship right now, and you can't put your finger on what, there's a blockage. And because everything else seems to stack up, you know, in the same sector, career path, geography, street, whatever it is, you know, there's so many similarities that it should all work, but something isn't working, or it did work but it isn't now. At some point a value has changed, or it's been switched, and there's an incompatibility. And again, I think, like you said, Leanne, there's friendships are willing to have the conversations that companions don't.
Yes.
If somebody's a companion, then I would probably remain quiet when I see them potentially going to make a poor choice or decision, because I don't have the level of relationship. I haven't been given the permission either.
No, absolutely.
To speak and to, you know, challenge. But we need those people. And I think it was Oscar Wilde who said, good friends don't stab you in the back, they stab you in the front.
Yeah.
In other words, we do need people who help us to cut things out of our lives that are going to harm us. We all have blind spots where we need somebody to say, hey, turn quick, look what's coming, you know, and you're about to make a poor choice. We need those people. And so again, that's the shift now. The person who's going to win in life recognizes that friendships actually become like soil. So we often talk, don't we, Leanne, about the soil and the seed. It's a great analogy. Obviously, it's an analogy that's worked for many thousands of years. Yeah. And you know, you can have a great seed, and the seed we often talk about in terms of vision, future. Like, what is it that I want to see happen? You can have a fantastic seed, but if you've got poor soil, okay, then you are not going to see that seed bear its potential. It will remain unrealized. It will stay in that seed, or it will die early. It won't go to full fruition. So you have a great vision, but you need to have the soil, and friendships help create the environment from which healthy things grow.
Yeah, and I think we're in an age where this is quite it's a difficult subject in one sense, because even the idea of friends has changed. For example, you have friends on Facebook. You have friends who follow you on social media, in inverted commas, who aren't friends at all. In fact, I've got more friends on Facebook that I've never met or that I've met once than actual real friends. So I think, and I talked about this in the previous episode about success, the word success has been kind of reduced down to something. I think the word friends has been reduced down to something in today's society because of things like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever else, that we can go into this mindset of friends is the number of people I know online. I don't think we're created for that. I'm quite certain they are good things to have. And yes, we need to it's great to have a community online. Love all that. I'm not saying that's bad. But if that's our only interaction and our only community, we are on dodgy ground because we are wired for connection with other human beings. I truly believe that is our created design. God looked at Adam and saw that it was not good that he was on his own. He looked at creation, he was good, but it was not good that he was alone. So he created Eve, and there was companionship at the deepest level there, or friendship, I should say, relationship. And so humans need other humans. So I think society has kind of reduced down the whole friends thing to just people that I've met once, or they see. And it's funny, when you meet up with people that you've perhaps not seen for years, I feel like I know them because I'm watching what they have for breakfast, I'm seeing them out on their run, I'm looking at their photos of their family and their kids. I might have never seen
It's a little bit stalkerish.
Let's be honest.
Leanne
That's why we like
you.
it. It's true. That's why we like it though. We want to see, I'm less interested in the information posts. I want to see what they're having for tea. Why do people sit for hours on TikTok watching people just cook in their kitchen or having a conversation about what they've done with their kids today? I find it brilliant, but at the same time really sad that is what it's reduced to. That actually, I'm going to watch you because I haven't got the energy to go and make friends, so I'm just going to watch you to fill my emotional tank for 5 minutes. But actually, it leaves you feeling really empty. We've just come out of 23 days of kind of a fasting time in our church, where we might not have given up food for that whole time, but there'd be something that you kind of really depend on that we've put to one side for those 3 and a bit weeks. And I put aside social media, not on a professional level, we were still posting stuff, but purely on a personal level for that time, because I found that opening that fills my emotional tank for 5 minutes. But then it made me feel terrible because that's not my real community. Those people cannot influence my life in a good way. They cannot speak directly into my situation. They don't have shared values. I might just like looking at what they're doing. So we have to be careful that we're not replacing that with what actually is designed and destined for us. Because friends are about getting a community.
And I think it is that it's the level of interaction, isn't it? So like you've just said, you can watch and observe. And I think that's where and even work alongside. And that's the level where you get to that kind of companion level.
Yeah.
But really, friendship is the level of intimacy, the level of interaction. And again, a couple of kind of keys here. Proverbs 27:17 says, iron sharpens iron and one person sharpens another. In other words, it's that if you think iron sharpens iron doesn't sharpen iron by just sitting in parallel next to it, an iron bar next to an iron bar. It's the interaction. It's the coming together. And again, that iron sharpens iron is not just like, sitting there saying, oh, you're wonderful. No, you're wonderful. No, you're fantastic. It's not just saying nice things. It's actually sharpening one another. And sharpening actually
can be conflict.
Yes, it can be encouraging, but it can be challenging as well. And, because for me, encouragement and challenging behavior are two sides of the same coin. Again, if it's done in love and with a sense of for the person's best. So again, it's that level of interaction. So my question to you right now is, who sharpens you?
Yeah.
Who do you sharpen? If you say, well, right now, Gareth, I can't actually think of anybody. Well, maybe this needs to become your challenge.
Yeah.
Just like it becomes our challenge, we have to keep challenging ourselves because like Leanne said, sometimes certain relationships are for seasons. And so therefore it's about, okay, who are the people that need to challenge me and shape me and them in this next season? So we can never say it's a tick box, I've done it. So there's that level of interaction. Again, another key, it's from Ecclesiastes in the Bible where it talks, now this verse is talking about kind of relationship in terms of marriage, but I think the principle still is the same. It talks about a 3-cord strand is not easily broken. Now that's talking about the kind of third strand being, or the first strand being God, and then the other two people being wrapped around. So again, you could incorporate what Leanne's saying into that, as in, because God represents values, and it's the two people who wrap themselves around those values, and obviously you can take that then to actually the person of who God is. But again, it's think about it, three strands alongside each other. There isn't strength.
No,
it's the interweaving that produces the strength, and then when that is tested, think about a rope or string being taut. That's when the strength is proven. And so there will be times of testing where you are going to need, and I am going to need, that healthy friendship group who are willing to hold me accountable and me them for the sake of a greater goal. We need it if we're going to win, and if we're going to truly fulfill our potential to bring our highest and best contribution to this world.
Yeah, and just to encourage, some of you might be listening to this because for different reasons you feel lonely. There's that phrase that leadership is lonely, which in some ways it is. When you are kind of spearheading things, if you are trying to make things work, sometimes people won't always understand what you're doing. And there is a point where sometimes you kind of stand or feel that you're standing alone, but that shouldn't become our bitter excuse to not be meeting with people and have friends. Or you might just be saying, right now, I don't have any friends. Right now, I feel really lonely. When we first moved to London in 2014, we knew nobody in the area where we were living, not anyone. It was just us five. I was in one of the busiest kind of crowds you could ever be in terms of lots of people in a city, and I knew no one, and I felt really lonely. And I think that loneliness, it can make you feel sick. Spiritually, emotionally, make you feel unwell, because we need to be with people. So I want to encourage you that if you're feeling lonely today, like you're saying, I'm on my own, is it just because you are kind of spearheading something, that you're the head of your company or your home or your marriage or whatever, and you feel kind of on your own with that? Keep going, but don't use that as an excuse to kind of pull away from looking for other friends. Or if you are genuinely, you don't have anyone right now, now's a good time. You make the first move. You go and seek out some of those people who are like-minded, who have shared values. And it can be just go and grab a cup of coffee, go and get a meal with somebody, do something like that where you're going to instigate something. And it's so important. Who knows that other person might be looking for someone to have a coaching conversation. Be vulnerable with that person when you feel that they've earned that. Good. But I think that's really key, that we learn to not just sit there and say, oh, I feel lonely. Go and find people. It could start with a shared interest. It could be at a sports club. It could be at a tea afternoon, whatever it might be. But go and find those people, because everyone will find somebody who they can really spend time with and get close to.
And through the winning life and through the winning community that we're building, again, we want to try and create an environment. And as we go, there will be different environments that we will create, both online and in person. And again, maybe you've been listening for a few episodes, or even if this has been your first episode, but something resonates, something says, these people, what they're saying, I connect to it. And, well, listen, make sure that you connect to us. Go to the website, www.thewinninglife.tv, and there are opportunities for you to become part of a conversation where you can interact, not just listen, not just observe, not just watch, but have that level of interaction that can help you get clarity on those values. Because maybe you don't know what your values are. Maybe you have them, but you couldn't articulate them. So again, we can help you with this and want to help you and serve you. So go and find out. Remember, there is more in you than you think. And taking on these challenging questions helps to draw it out. From me, Gareth Morgan, take care.
And from me, Leanne, take care. See you soon.
We hope that you enjoyed that episode. And if you enjoyed it, please go and subscribe over on all of our channels on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and not forgetting your favorite podcast platform. And if you head over to thewinninglife.tv, you'll be able to find all the resources available to you. Gareth has written several books which will help you on your discovery to building stronger and better lives. Come and join us for the next episode.